So, Jared, how does it feel to receive such a warm welcome from the viewers? I mean, you guys already got an early renewal, so that's great in itself, but I'm sure that must take off an immense amount of pressure, right?
Big time. I mean, this project was such a I was on Supernatural for 15 and a half years because the pandemic kind of dragged out an extra 6 months. And so this project was already in development. And so the pressure valve hadn't yet been released. It was just longer wait and longer wait and longer wait and longer wait. It gave us more time to work on it, I suppose, from afar. But the fact that people are enjoying it is a great credit to Anna Fricke and our awesome writing staff, our directors, our cast. It's a bold move, I guess, to take a show that was so popular for so long and totally reimagine it. And it can go one of two ways. Either they say, there aren't enough karate kicks to people's heads, or they go like, oh, I see, this is a different show for a different time, and embrace it. And it seems like a lot of folks have chosen the latter. And so it's great because we're all working really hard. We take it really seriously. We have a good time on set, and as much as we can in this crazy like COVID world where we're all wearing masks. I don't know what half of our crew's faces look like unless they take down their mask to have a sip of water and put it back up. I'm like, oh, there's your face. But we're making the most of it. It already feels like we have a nice little family going on, and it's been very flattering and further kind of motivation and inspiration to keep going, keep working hard.
All right. So there's such a strong sense of family with you guys. So can you break down the dynamic for me and what it's like behind the scenes?
You know what? We've really made the most of it. Like we have a cast text thread, and I joke with Anna, who's running the show often. I'm like, we're talking. Are your ears burning? Because we're talking about you in the cast thread. And she's like, I want to be added. I'm like, nope. So yeah, we have a good time. Some of these actors I've known previously and worked with previously, and some it was just brand new. But everybody clicks, and there's something about where we shoot here in Austin that it kind of behooves you to just be chill and be friendly. And so it's not the hustle and bustle of like a Los Angeles or even a Vancouver or a New York City. It's sort of like, hey, this is all cool. Like if we have issues, let's just talk about them. And we were very clear since day one that communication is key. And I think we all communicate and just get along and tease each other and rib each other and have a good time. So that's been a nice blessing.
Now, we all know Walker is such an iconic character. So, Jared, what did you do to make this role your own? And also, can you tell us a little bit about how this version of Walker is different from the original?
So we just set out to tell a different story. So Chuck's Walker was about a ranger who happened to have a family. This show was really about a family man who happens to be a ranger. And so dealing with a lot of because we do that, we're more able to deal with a lot of stuff that's going on in 2021 as opposed to in 1994. And so that was it was either, hey, we're going to try and throw homages out all the time, or we're going to tell our story and see what people think. And I grew up in San Antonio, Texas. So I grew up, watching Walker, Texas Ranger with Chuck Norris, and I've seen all the memes and I love them. And so it was like, well, we're not really going to be able to recreate that. Like that stands alone in time. So what story can we tell? And fortunately for us, the studio and the network let us kind of do our bit.
All right. Now, there are so many intense things that seem to be happening in this upcoming episode. And I know you can't say much, but what can you tell us about it?
Well, what I can tell you is that this episode that airs on next Thursday, the 10th, it was originally our season finale. So after we aired, I think episode 1 or 2, we got picked up for season 2, but they also added 5 episodes to season 1. So we were going to end at 13, which is this episode, and then go to a season 2, but they added 5 episodes. So this episode is enormous. Like this was a 13 episode sell basically. And it was like, listen, episode 13 needs to be huge. And it's huge. I mean, there's action, there's emotion, everything in between. But the Rodeo Kings story that we've been working on all season really comes to a climax, and in a brutal and violent way. And there's a lot that goes on. We see a lot of characters that we've seen all season long so far, and everybody has an arc within, which is pretty impressive by the writers to take 42 minutes of screen time and go like, all right, we're gonna give everybody something to do. But it's wild. It's a wild episode.
For the character progression of Walker, what can we expect to see for the rest of season 1 and going into season 2?
As far as my character goes, Walker, we continue to see his growth as a widow to a father, and a son and a friend and a ranger and somebody, whether or not somebody's in law enforcement or military, we've all been through traumas one way or the other. And so I think the universal kind of theme that we're dealing with is how people can kind of stray after they've not even stray, but be a little bit less than they're capable of being, and how they can build back up to that. And as far as the character goes and the storyline goes, this episode makes it clear that there is more at play than just the Rodeo Kings. And so we'll definitely delve into that both at the end of the season and next season.